All right. So, welcome everyone. Tonight, you're being hosted by two of the core faculty members. One would be myself. I'm Michelle Collet. I'm also the director of the program. And Dr. Joanne Cooper, who is speaking to us from Portland, Oregon. And sometimes around here we say Portland, and I forget there's a Portland, Maine, because I'm mostly from the West Coast. So I'm working on adding Maine to Portland or Oregon. What we're going to do tonight is go through this agenda. We run about 50 to 55 minutes, and we'll break it out so that we can have participant introductions in, up to 8 or 9 or 10, and then go into some more of the agenda, and then come back and introduce the next round so that people can attend carefully to what folks are saying. So here's the agenda. We're going to continue to get acquainted with each other. This is an online community of practice, and the term community of practice is most widely used by Wenger and Lave, who were at UC Berkeley at the time they presented their initial thinking. It's very similar to professional learning communities or PLCs. Those of you that know about critical friends groups, those are all relatively similar approaches to establishing work groups that support each other and have common interests. I've talked about the two of us that are on board tonight. I'm going to present a little bit about the curriculum and our learning community structure. And then a final purpose is that everybody gets to jump into GoToWebinar and test drive it. So if you have headphones, that's helpful. We do keep the mics closed. You can do a raised hand, or you can use the question box to give me a shout. And here's Joel saying, hi, it says I'm muted. Yes, you are. So in the GoToWebinar environment, over about 4 microphones open, we start to get screeching and feedback. So I generally keep them closed unless people want to speak, and then it takes me a second or two to open Joel. So that's what's going on there. And in terms of your introductions, tonight I've chosen introductions, name, role, organization, and 1 or 2 sentences about and or offer a recommendation about balancing work, school, and your personal life, because you're going to be doing a lot of that as you go through the next several years. So that's the prompt. We run about 30 seconds per introduction, just get a chance to people to speak out loud and say hello. So that is the agenda, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So Joanne Cooper, why don't you introduce yourself, name, role, organization, a little bit about what you do in our program, and then some advice for balancing work, school, and personal life.
Okay, my name is Joanne Cooper, and I am, as Michelle said, one of the core faculty in the doctorate at University of New England. And I also am a professor emeritus from the University of Hawaii. You may have heard us talking about Hawaii a few minutes ago. So that's my name and my role, and I guess my organizations. And I will be teaching the qualitative research course, which I've done a couple of times before and really, really enjoyed. I probably have taught qualitative research about 25 times, because I taught it repeatedly at the University of Hawaii and really, really enjoyed doing that. So I look forward to working with all of you later this fall in the qualitative research course. It comes pretty soon in the program, and I think that's a good idea, to have you guys start to think about yourselves as researchers right away and be thinking about possible research topics that you might pursue, what you're interested in. Advice for balance. Well, it's funny because I just went to a doctoral proposal meeting at Portland State University today, and the student was talking about principles and balancing, and he had a picture of that guy that walked on wire between the Twin Towers.
Oh yeah, he's a famous acrobat.
Incredible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess there's a book called Greasy Steps to Being a Principal, and he warns where the grease spots are. So part of my advice would be don't slip.
Huh.
Watch for the grief spots. uh, but I also think in some cases it's a good idea to just to take some time out and veg out and eat pizza and watch TV or whatever in between. I did that, and I know some of my fellow students said, "How do you have time to do that?" But you know, there's some research that shows that you need sort of that time when you're not on, you're drooling in your lap, whatever you want to call it, in order to be more creative and to think uh, better when you are working. So that would be my advice.
All right. Well, thank you for getting us started. So we're going to go through a handful of introductions here and remember your name, job, and organization, and then advice that you either would like to take or have for others about uh, keeping balance. And Angela Wells, we're going to start with you.
Hi guys, my name is Angela. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. I work with the disability determinations. I'm assistant supervisor in our unit. Um, so we ideas for balancing. I'm finishing up. I'm actually walking this week with my master's degree, and so yay me.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I've been in the program for a year and a quarter, and I was taking two classes a night. I mean, two classes a quarter. So I got to where I'm really good at balancing. You know, I have 2 or 3 nights where I'm focused on school, and then a night where I'm at home doing nothing, because I do know how important that is, and then a night or two where I'm, going out with friends just to make sure that I'm seeing all my people, and then work. I have the same schedule every week, so that I work around work. So just like she said, just like Miss Cooper said a second ago, just make sure you take time to yourself. It's not always, you can't always be working or writing papers or whatever. You have to have downtime. That's really important. So, and that's me.
All right. I have quite a little bit of echo, but I'm going to keep going here. All right. So, Angie Ringley, go ahead.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good. So tell us name, rank, serial number, and advice for work, family, personal balance.
My name is Angie Ringley. I am the head of the middle school and the assistant head of school at Pinewood Prep in Summerville, South Carolina, which is right outside of Charleston. My daughter is in college herself, so she is away at school, and my husband's a police officer who works shift work. The way I've always balanced is I work around my husband's shifts. He works 12-hour shifts, and which gives me long blocks of time by myself, and I try to do most of my schoolwork and my work during that time, and then take some time with him when he's home. So, but with the school schedule and with his schedule, it's different every week. So we just on the weekends try to plan out the schedule from the week for the week and go from there.
Great. So it's kind of nice when the other half is in and out. Then you have some time to yourself.
That's right. He works
Great.
every other weekend, which gives me every other weekend to catch up on everything I need to catch up on.
Excellent. Thanks for introducing yourself. Blake, you're next.
Hi there, my name is Blake Clifford. I am owner and consultant for a very small consulting firm called Information Group One. I'm in outside the Chicago area, basically northwest Indiana vicinity, but it's still very rural out here in this area, very small town. I also substitute teach in the area to stay active. I have 7 children, so talk about juggling. Well, my wife and I have 7 children. Talk about juggling things and keeping a sanity while I'm going through my studies. And like Joanne, I'm finishing up a master's degree now, and I doubled up on my course load too. So it's very heavy with everything that I had to get done, especially with the kids and all. However, what I found is the same that Joanne stated, that getting that balance in your life, making sure you have the time, and not just the downtime, but also activity time to get out, exercise, time to read, time to write. I set up a very, I guess, stringent schedule for myself that I don't quite follow, but I try to maintain, and that's the goal that I shoot for every week. and it's really helped me keep pace. Again, I don't usually achieve it as I've written it exactly, but I know what my next step is each week, and that's really helped me stay motivated and stay attached to each of the areas of my life.
Great. Very well done. Good advice. Thank you. Carolyn,
Hi.
thanks for coming back in.
He has a great radio voice.
Yeah. Maybe he can do radio when he's not with raising 7 kids
That's right.
and trying to go to school.
I work at Sedamocha Elementary and Middle School. It's a pre-K through 8 school. I'm working as the literacy coach. And I've had sort of a strange experience lately. My mom was in a car accident, so as far as balancing, it kind of went out of whack for me. So I think journaling is the key for me. It kind of brings me back to my inner self and helps me to gauge where I am and where I need to go to next. And I was really busy with my mom lately, but she's starting to heal and get better, and I've been able to journal more, and that's been key for me.
Wonderful. So when Joanne Cooper comes back on board, she's going to talk a little bit about research journal keeping, but she also is a scholar of personal and professional journal keeping. So she'll be pleased to hear that from you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Sherry?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherry Toll. I'm currently the principal at Wiscasset High School, and I've also just signed on for kind of a role with the Department of Education where I'll be a consultant in helping with the teacher effectiveness program. Because I'm part of a district that is a TIPS district, so the teacher incentive fund, but now they're looking at how do you do that as well as have a proficiency-based education system. So they're looking at how do you align SLOs with proficiency-based education. So I'm part of a small group working with the DOE on that. So that's kind of my role in organization between high school principal and the DOE. Balancing work, school, and personal life has been a goal of mine for almost every year of my in my career. One of those things that I struggle with. For me, one of the things is I've always had to surround myself with good people, good administrative assistants who really kind of make sure that I put time in my calendar to make sure I'm doing things for myself, to take care of myself, and making sure that I'm putting in family time. And then one of the things I really make sure I do is to put family first. So like my kids' football games, every Friday night, that's a given. I always go to Friday night football for my kids. So surrounding yourself with good people that are making sure you're taking care of yourself, I think that's something that we can all do for ourselves.
That's really good recommendation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Colette, good evening.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. My name is Colette Scott, and I'm from Philadelphia. And I currently work at the National Board of Medical Examiners. It is an assessment organization for medical education, and I work on the clinical skills exam for the United States Medical Licensing Exam. Although in about a month's time, I'll be changing positions to become the Director of Outreach and Business Development for my company. So a lot of what I've heard folks talk about in relation to balancing work-life, school is familiar to me, and that I do a lot of goal setting, journaling, and I try and set that the week before a target, much like I believe Blake said, try and stick to a schedule. But at the same time, try and stay ahead of all assignments so that I'm not, I can tend to procrastinate at times, so I know that about myself, and try and stay several days ahead of due dates so that I don't get caught behind.
Great, good advice. Thank you for checking in. Elizabeth or Beth, welcome.
Hello. Yes, please call me Beth.
Okay.
I am in Quincy, Massachusetts. That is where my job is. I'm a curriculum coordinator for high school grades for Quincy Public Schools. I'm also the ELL coordinator, K through 12 for the district. And I'm also in charge of music education. So I have 3 very different roles within my position, but it's very exciting, and I just have to remember which hat to put on when I walk in the door. um, I think that balance for me must include, and it's great listening to everybody's ideas about how to kind of make everything work. Balance for me has also been a little off kilter in the sense that I'm still fairly new in my role, and realizing that it's a very time-consuming and very high expectation job with long hours. I get home very late at night and leave very early in the morning. So I'm actually hoping that this program is going to help me balance out a little more and to put things into perspective. But one of the things that I think is really important and a goal for myself is to make sure that I have time to exercise during the week. I think exercise is a big piece in being feeling good and moving. It gives me a chance to clear my mind. It gives me a chance to kind of recharge, and also the other thing is enough sleep, which is a goal. Certainly I'm not getting enough now, and I'm sure many of you are in the same boat. But I hope that coming into the new school year that I will make that a part of my my balance.
Good recommendation. Thank you. Okay. Holly, how are you doing?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Holly Wasserman. I'm an occupational therapist, and I'm an associate professor and the program coordinator for the evening and weekend program at Long Island University, the Brooklyn campus. And I'm currently live in the heart of Manhattan, and so I guess that's my role and where I work and all that. Thinking of balancing and recommendations, I'm still kind of working on that. I do have a very supportive dean, and he allowed me to have some time away from campus to dedicate to working on my doctorate. So that is good. I guess I have to figure out now how to fully disengage from work, not being there, but not checking email and doing other things. So that's something I'll be working on. Also a challenge, I guess, for me, and figuring out maybe from other people too, living in Manhattan, small apartment, sharing it with my boyfriend, having a dedicated space for me to do my work. Not, in the living room. I don't have another bedroom or second, office space to kind of figure out where my space is so I could be in that mode and keeping track of things. I'm also very much, even in this day of electronics, paper and pencil person, and I like to keep lists and cross things off, which really helps me kind of feel sense of satisfaction when things get done. So those are a couple of things that I'll throw out for you guys, and looking forward to working with everybody.
Thanks, Holly. You reminded me of a dean I worked for who, at the end of the day, she'd write all the stuff down the left side of her notebook that she'd accomplished and then check it off. So at the end of the day, she'd add this stuff. I thought that was a little like cheating, but made her feel really good. Jeff, you're next. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hello?
Welcome. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Vanderwerf. I'm the director of an ESL program on the campus of the College of Mount St. Vincent in the Bronx. And I spend every morning consciously thinking about priorities for the day. I sort of plan out my day. I'll even close my eyes and sort of plan out my day, and that, I think, just breaking it down into sort of smaller level sort of daily tasks helps me to organize myself and to balance everything that needs to be done for the day. And I also like to play tennis, which helps clear my mind.
Great. Thank you for that suggestion. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Jan, you're up next. It's
Hi.
Jen. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
My name is Jen Graham. I'm actually in Fort Kent, which is almost in Canada, so I think I'm the furthest north person that we've had so far. I teach in Presque Isle. I teach at the community college, and I teach English and communication, so I teach a lot of writing and literature classes. For me, balance is really hard. I'm a little bit of a workaholic, like some other people have mentioned. I tend to get bogged down in the logistics of how I will accomplish things. So I think this semester especially, I'm going to try to focus on just trusting that things will get done, even if on paper they don't look like they're going to get done. So that's going to be my strategy for this first semester.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And yes, you're up there. We have a couple of up north folks, Dover Foxcroft as well. Okay, we're bringing Joanne back in. Joanne, are you there?
I'm here.
Excellent. So you've got some good material from those folks for your little presentation coming up here. We're going to go ahead and push pause on introductions. We've got half the group in here, and we're going to turn the mic back over to you so you can share a little bit about your interest and expertise in keeping a journal and maybe some personal journal keeping, picking up from what some of the folks said coming into this.
Yeah, it was very exciting to hear that some of you are already journal keepers. So, bravo! I've been keeping a journal since 1975, so almost 40 years. That's a long time. My grandchildren said to me the other day, "Grandma, what do you do with all those journals?" and the books are piling up, but I find the process to be very centering and therapeutic, and I actually have two journals that I keep, a personal one that I write in every morning, but then a professional one that I take with meetings to me, that I write to-do lists in. Danelle Stevens and I actually wrote a book on journal keeping, which you will probably run into a little later, and we made to-do lists every time we met. Okay, by the next time we meet, we'll do this and this and this. You do this, I'll do this, etc. And so that process, I think, is what is the most useful about journal keeping. Two things, and if you look at your handout, I guess you don't have the handout in front of you, but we have advancing your understanding and keeping you organized. And I'd say those are the two main functions of a journal. The professional journal may have more of the organization in it, where you write your goals or keep to-do lists or the names of people you need to contact, etc. And a lot of that will be useful when you are conducting research. But also there is the personal journal that helps you to reflect. One of the students that from the last round of the program talked about that journal as being her only friend. She said, it really has been my go-to person. My journal allows me to put things in perspective and allows me to refocus and push on. And I think that is really interesting and probably true, that the busier you get, she said, you know, my family, when I try to talk about my research, their eyes glaze over and they look at me like I'm an alien from outer space. And it's really nice to have somewhere to go to think about things and to write down your reflections. So your journal can do that for you. I think you have the quotes in front of you, and I love Susan Flegel's quote. One of the missing and least valued qualities of our culture is the capacity to reflect. We value speed, action, productivity, and tangible rewards, and often move straight from brainstorming to implementation, failing to take time to ponder the complexities surrounding our decisions. And this, I think, has a lot of implications for leaders, which all of you I know are working to become better leaders. And I think they're right. She's right that we don't value that capacity to reflect. We value getting the right answer, getting something done right away. And often that can be a mistake if you don't stop and reflect on what the possible ramifications of your actions are. May Sarton said, please, perhaps we write toward what we will become from where we are. And again, I think that's absolutely true. And some of the people who kept journals in my last research class said they thought that was one of the best uses of the journal, was to see the progress they made during the course that we had together. So that too is really nice. It's a concrete way to track. And it also, as May Sarton says, it's a way to look at where you're going. So you're doing two things. You're looking backward at where you've been. Wow, I've come a long way. but also forward. Where am I going? Where am I aiming? E.M. Foster said, how do I know what I think until I see what I say? And again, I think that's a really important function of journaling, that you don't know what you have to say until you write it down. Writing is thinking, and some of you that teach writing probably know that, that it's a way for you to begin to clarify what it is that you want to say. And so you don't always have to have it exactly right the first time. As another one of my students said, it takes time and focus to reach clarity of thought. So one of the students, I love this, she said, a brush and dustpan for my thoughts, a cupboard spring clean for misplaced items in my cognitive framework, and a butter churn for separating thought curds and thought whey. Some lovely metaphors there. So I would say that is one of the uses of journal keeping that is really helpful. One guy said, some of you are journal keepers, and I love that, but I know some of you probably are not. And we had people that went, oh no, she wants us to keep a journal? Are you kidding me? One guy wrote, I am not a journal keeper, nor will I ever become one. I understand its benefits and will not dispute them. I also understand the benefits of jogging, but that's not going to happen either. But then he said, going back and seeing my thoughts develop over the last 2 months helps me to appreciate how much I have evolved my understanding of my own sight study. So, you know, there's the benefit, even though he's like, okay, I'm not going to do this my whole life. I would recommend that you do. The unexamined life is not as much worth living as one that is examined, but everybody has their own ways of organizing their life and their work. And then G. Lynn Nelson says, I was taught to write when I had something public to say, so I seldom wrote. Now I write in my journal to find out what I have to say. So I am forever writing. And again, I think that underscores what a lot of people talk about, including Peter Elbow, which is the process of discovery. He says he doesn't think people would keep writing if it weren't for the surprises. So it's always delightful and surprising to see what comes out of the end of your pen when you put it down on the paper. And I wish all of you a wonderful journey through your doctoral program. I think that you will find many of those surprises as you write. Just give yourself permission to do so. You don't have to use good grammar. Don't worry about APA, any of that. Just practice making words come out of the end of your pen, and you will be well rewarded for that.
Thanks, Joanne.
You're welcome.
Joel is next, and Joel has figured out he knows you from somewhere. So, and John Burton, I do see your hand, and you're next in line. So let me go ahead and just stay in order because I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. And you'll get a chance to come next. You can raise your question and or just introduce yourself. Joel, welcome.
Hi, happy to be here with you guys. My name is Joel Lowski. I'm the Director of Educational Technology at a independent high school in Western Massachusetts. I am actually Canadian from Montreal, Quebec, and one interesting thing that I have to slip in is that I am getting married on Sunday, and I am in Lake Placid, New York, at my hotel where we're going to get married, and my fiance and her family are in the other room, hopefully having a good time without me, and so that's really exciting. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So what I learned when I was doing my master's degree, which was online, is that to take time when it's given to you. So if you're having a slow work day, read a little bit for your doctorate, and if you're having a slow homework doctorate day, then take some extra time with your family. And if your family goes off to see a movie and you don't want to go, then be mindful to take that time to do some reading or do some work. So whereas in the past free time might be TV time, just be mindful of the time that's given to you and how else you can use it. That helped me through my my master's. So I hope that helps somebody.
Great. So Joel recognizes you, Joanne, from Constructivist Leader. Made a note to me about that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that question on there. That's me. Yep.
All right.
So thank you.
Cool. Okay, now we have John who put his hand up. So John, welcome.
Hey, welcome everybody. I was having computer technical problems, so I always want to make sure that I was still online.
You are loud and clear.
Thank you. I am an assistant food service director in Arlington Heights, Illinois, which is just west of Chicago. Shout out to Blake, who's in the area. We manage 4 different programs. I just really believe that fate brought me to this account because my boss gives me the freedom to do whatever I'd like to do with my dreams. And she goes once a year to Washington, D.C. and talks to Congress about improving the program, which is what my goal is. Balance was interesting because I like to be physically and mentally balanced, and this is kind of funny, but I have a stationary bike in my apartment, and I set up a tripod, which I read my textbook and pedal at the same time. So I try to do that for an hour a day. So I think it's important that that you balance out the intellectual with the physical, and so I try to do that as much as possible. I was also, I loved hearing the accents earlier in the conversation. It's been a while since I heard the term down east.
Yeah.
I'm originally from the greater Boston area, and so that was nice. I like that.
Great. Well, you'll hear I'm new to Southern Maine, and I'm from the West Coast. I was raised in the Bay Area, so but I love regional accents, and I can almost now pick out 3 or 4 different regions of Maine. So I'm coming along. Thank you, John, for introducing yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Mark coming up. Mark, welcome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Schlesinger. I work in Philadelphia at the OICA, the Opportunities and Industrialization Centers of America, a very long title for kind of a simple thing that we do, which is we work on a federal grant and we teach classes on HIV and HIV, STD, and pregnancy prevention. So as part of that program, I was the teacher, and now I am the performance measurement analyst, which is I write all the reports, I do all the observations, and for those of you that have worked with or on federal grants, you know that there's a lot of fidelity requirements in order to keep those, so I ensure that our program is in compliance with those. So I finished my master's degree about 6 or 7 years ago, and I also did it while I worked full-time, and for me, the thing for me that worked the best was that I refused, for not any particular reason, but just to not work on Sunday. I refused to do any work on Sunday, which is how I kind of balanced my schedule throughout the rest of the week. And now with my current job, I have a lot of flexibility in terms of when I do my observations. The only deadlines I really have is when reports are due. Otherwise, I'm kind of in and out of the office. So one of the reasons I decided to take on this doctorate program now is because of the flexibility that I have with my job.
Lucky you. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. We have Patrice. I'm not sure you have audio going, so I'm going to give you a chance here. You've got icons showing up that you may not have audio. So I'm sending you this audio pin. You may want to come out and go back in, or you might want to text me a little bit of a note, which I'm happy to read. So Robert Carl, Bob, how are you doing? Robert, are you there? Robert, last call. We'll come back to him. Sebastian. Sebastian?
Yeah.
Hi, good evening. You're on duty here. I've opened your mic.
Okay, great. My name is Sebastian, and I am a public high school teacher in Miami, Florida. And I also teach as an adjunct English professor at a few local colleges in the area. But I've realized that for this upcoming year, I am saying goodbye to all my adjunct positions in order to focus on school.
Great. So you've got 2 jobs. How do you balance work, family, personal needs?
Well, it's actually 3 jobs, so
Okay.
I try to spend very little time with family and friends. I just focus on myself, unfortunately.
All right.
But,
well, maybe you'll get some advice here from folks.
Yeah, based on what everyone's saying, I guess I gotta take what time is given to me, and well, I'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, we'll check on you in a little bit here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. We're going to give Robert another chance here. Robert, can you speak up? Hello, Robert. So I see your hand, and there we go. Try again. Robert, go ahead. I can hear you out there, but we can't make out what you're saying. So you're better. Take one more pass. I'm going to leave your mic open while we kind of move down the way here. So if we get you back in, we'll let you come in there. Sharon, good evening. Sharon?
Hi. Yes, I'm here.
Good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm well, thank you. My name is Sharon Helmke, and I'm in Houston, Texas, a little suburb just outside of Houston, and I teach in another little suburb, Clear Creek. I'm actually now the coordinator of instructional coaching, so I supervise about 150 instructional coaches, kindergarten through 12th grade, in a really progressive district. We have a lot of technology, one-to-one technology, robotics throughout the school, project-based learning, a lot of really interesting things happen. And it's my job to try and coordinate all that and get the coaching part of it working. My advice for balancing things. I think it goes back to when I started teaching years and years ago. I was a special education teacher, and a lot of what I did for kids was task analysis and breaking tasks into much smaller pieces. And I still do that because I find that if I don't really look at a task and break it into steps, I underestimate how long it's going to take to get it done. And then I end up in a bind. But if when I first get an assignment or a task, I really stop and think about what's going to be necessary and I put that down on a calendar, then the timing seems to work out a lot better.
Great, thank you. Okay, is it Shada? Is that the right pronunciation?
Hi, it's Shida.
Shida, thank you.
Yes, how is everyone? This is very exciting. I am a manager in an intellectual property law firm in Washington, D.C. I live in the Virginia suburbia part of the metropolitan, and I'm very excited to be part of the group. I've waited a long time to finally start a doctorate program. We were talking, I also teach part-time. I'm professor adjunct of history. My specialty is ancient Persia, but I teach Middle East and Western Civ. And that's my love job. But we were talking about journals. I actually keep a dream journal because a lot of ideas of my path in life has been a lot of it on intuition and things that you can't put, very abstract ideas. And so I've always been a dream journalist. So you may be surprised at what comes to you when you're sleeping, trying to solve a problem. But go ahead.
Sheeta, I would say that one of the things that I think keeping a journal does is it helps you to access your intuition, and dream journaling will definitely do that.
Yes. I have kept journals, regular journals, and dream journals. I even have poetry journals. Believe it or not, we all can write poetry. So it's just causing your mind to be creative in different ways and connecting things. But as far as balancing everything that I do, I stopped watching television years ago. I have no idea what's on TV. That was my number one thing. And then I do spend a little time meditating, and meditation could be different things for people. So for me, it's playing my little guitar. I'm not as good as some of my classmates here who are in bands and so forth, but it does make you stop thinking about everything else, all the problems and everything else you have to do, because you're just focused on a little piece of music you got to play. Or my husband is very much into nutritional cooking. We try to eat very nutritional food because I've experimented on myself. It actually gives you clarity of mind and energy I go from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. So I think giving yourself nutritional food and taking care is part of that whole physical care that others have mentioned here.
Great. Good suggestion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Sheeta, I've got your pronunciation down. T'Challa, how you doing? Just checking your mics here, T'Challa. There you go. Try again.
Hi, my name is T'Challa Stuckey. I am currently working as a residential manager at Synergy Partners, which is a managed care provider network working within the developmentally disabled population. I go out to the homes and pretty much check out the homes to make sure that they're environmentally safe, physically for the residents and the consumers in the homes. Also, right now, working as a liaison for the Veteran Affairs and as support sensitivity skill at our job. So I have a couple of different titles. As far as balances, I try to make sure that I spend time with my family and friends at least weekly as far as outings, or monthly have some type of outing to do something. Since Saturday, I have cut myself off from social media. So Facebook and Instagram, it was something to keep myself busy, but since school has been started, I have stopped being on social media, which has been pretty helpful. As far as being balanced, just making sure that I carve out enough time throughout the week, making sure that I have a particular schedule in order. That's what helps me get everything done in a timely manner.
Great. Thanks, T'Challa.
Thank you.
Okay, we got one more on our alpha list, and then I'm going to go back and try to pick up a couple folks that couldn't get open. So, Tony?
Yes, so I'm excited to be here. My name is Tony Lucchese. I am a secondary science teacher at Bonnie Eagle High School in Standish, Maine. I would say that I balance pretty well, but I know that my wife would beg to disagree with that. I guess my best piece of advice is to try to, moderation. I've not had any luck in cutting back on television or social media as some of my colleagues, but I just try to listen to myself and give myself what I need at the time. So if that means I need to put work aside for a minute and binge watch Grey's Anatomy or go into the wilderness, then I do that, and I try to make sure that I get everything I can done. I'm a reformed procrastinator, so I try to get everything done the moment that it's assigned, so that later in the week when I feel that need to do absolutely nothing, that I have time to do that. And other than that, I have no real worthwhile advice. I'd say that you just try and think 10 steps ahead and try to keep your head above water.
Great. I like the reformed procrastinator. I'm going to keep that one. That's good. Thanks, Tony. So, Patrice, we're going to try you again here. Give me a moment just to unmute you and see if we can bring you in. Give us a try, Patrice. Hello. Yep, try
Hello?
again. There we go. We have you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Patrice Campbell. I'm the Associate Director at the International Center at the University of Michigan in Flint. I'm originally from Jamaica, and I have two kids, a 5-year-old and a 8-month-old. So I chuckled when I heard Tony's reform procrastinator, because I tell people that I'm a high-functioning slacker. But I went through my undergrad and my master's within 5.5 years, and then I just stopped. And I've been searching for about 7 or 8 years now to find the perfect program for me. I think I make lists at work, but I veg out at home. because I think too much at work. I do have a lot of flexibility at work given my role. I've just not taken it. So I tell my boss that I'll be taking my flexibility now. And they're very eager to let me, in a way, spread my wings to do this doctoral program because I've been talking about it for so long and working so hard. You know, I'm on all the time with my work. So that's me.
All right. Thank you. High functioning slacker. That's another one I think I might keep. We're going to give Robert Carl one more shot and see if we can bring him in. Robert, any luck? Hello. I'm going to leave his mic open. Joanne, before I do my little presentation to sort of take us through the second half, get ready to, it's actually the last quarter and close up. Do you want to add anything from what you've heard?
Well, I was looking at, in the handout, we have different kinds of journal possibilities, making lists and logs, keeping notes in meetings, lists questions you want to ask at your next meeting, making to-do lists. And I know some people who keep journals that say it turns out people depend on them, or what did we say we were going to do last time? I think also it's helpful for you to keep your research focus in front of you, and just in general, keep a notebook with you all the time and take notes in it so that you don't have to remember everything. That's one of the things I think is really useful, is not carrying all that stuff around in your head, but getting it down on paper so you don't have to remember it all. And I think that also can help with the balance. So it's been interesting to hear all the different ways that you have wonderful ideas about how to keep that balance. And I'm sure that those are going to serve you well as you move ahead here. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you and working with you later in this year.
Great.
So anybody have questions?
Let's see. You can come in through the question box, or you can give us a raised hand. So Joanne Cooper and Pam Flood will be up. Is Sheeta co-teaching the we got somebody just joined our session. Roger will be co-teaching the qualitative methods course, and they will be teaming on that, which is Fall B. That starts in October. Sheeta, did you just raise your hand, or was that up before? And do you have a question for Joanne?
No, I just had a general question. Do we all need to have a Skype account? Is that something we're going to be using for the next
sure. I can talk about that. Okay. Yeah. So when I hold my office hours, I try to use Skype. And so I put my Skype UNE address on my paperwork in the syllabus. And then you'll be prompted when you do your introductions in the course to place your Skype address should you have one. It is free. They vary in quality, as you probably already know. And you don't have to have a Skype account to do work in our program. You can also use my cell phone or any of the other faculties if you use. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Okay, so we have Roger joining us. I'm going to see if I can't open him up here. Roger, how are you doing? Hello, Roger. There we go. Give this might take a second to open sometimes, and you're not quite in. Roger, are you in? Okay, he's still working out his tech. And I'm going to go ahead and just do a brief presentation to give folks a sense of where we are with the program. I'm going to take about 10 minutes. It's late, and everybody's done really well with getting through introductions and listening in. This PowerPoint is, in fact, the slide version, which one of the folks prompted me today about that, is in the course, and there'll be some other versions of this that show up. This is just a brief introduction to the structure of the course. As you come in, with a group of 2 sections of 25 or so. This is how you'll experience the configuration, and I want people to know that, so they wonder, where's that person I met online, and who's that showing up in the wiki, and that. Those are all really good questions. So here is just a brief sense of how we do business, starting with the notion of what is curriculum. And I've always liked this definition, to curere, to run the course of, and there's a quick definition of how we use it. Curriculum is not what's between 2 covers of a book. Most of us teachers were trained that that was curriculum, but actually curriculum is the co-construction of learning with a team, with a group of people, sometimes a large group, sometimes a small group. And the 3 themes of the program, many of you I talked with at your interview about your site study potential. You have a self-study strand of work where you examine your own strengths as a leader and your own goals. And then topic exploration, which generally leads to the dissertation research. Sometimes they overlap heavily, these areas, and sometimes they're more divergent. Here is a brief overview of our self at the center. Our site is our setting, and our inquiry or topic exploration is generally an area of expertise that we want to more fully explore. The overlap depends on your work setting, your goals and interests, your other factors that influence your day-to-day. You read down to the end of the slide. Here's another way to frame those 3 areas of inquiry. The study of oneself. And we do that primarily through journal reflection. One of the reasons I always appreciate having Joanne come in early to the presentations is because her expertise in journal keeping has influenced not only how we work with the qualitative methods course, but the journal reflections that occur throughout the program. And as Joanne pointed out, some people think about journaling and they want to go jump out the window. But there's a lot of ways to do it. As she talked about the handout that we'll bring up to you as we go along, there's a lot of strategies to take up journaling and reflection that are very comfortable and become compelling, I think, in terms of how you conduct yourself as researchers and as professionals. So the self-study strand, here's some of the activities. Lots of introspection. Who am I? What am I doing? And what am I thinking? Aligning your practice with your theory. Articulating your leadership beliefs. And aligning your inquiry with those leadership values. I talked to, between 7:45 and 8 o'clock, we had a tech check and a little back and forth about the emergent research coming from our year 3 people. And many of those research projects are powerfully linked to people's life experiences and their personal goals as well as their professional goals. The site study strand, here's another look at some of the activities that you'll be doing and where they occur. Site description is coming right up. You do a technology evaluation at your workplace. You'll do a change proposal, leaning from the site description you do in the first course. Policy analysis, you do a policy analysis of a workplace-based policy. And again, that allows you to study your site. The ethical leadership decisions within the workplace. And then moving into diagnosing organizational dynamics, that's 8:11. So we do persist with your study of your site. Some of you mentioned moving into new roles and responsibilities as you introduced yourself. That should be a good opportunity, hopefully, for you to develop your site study in a new area of your work, and also double dip your research and reading in this program with your day job, which is another time saver for sure. Here's your third strand with another perspective, just a list again, keeping a list. You'll do a topic exploration in the first course, primarily by annotating some references relevant to your potential research topic. You work with a pre-proposal starting year 2, developing a lit review and starting to think about a methodology. You do some team studies in that second year, and then move into your proposal. Many folks do see quite a bit of overlap in the site study and in the topic exploration, but it is not a requirement. Another viewpoint of the dissertation development and who looks at it. And a little bit about the, we call the TLP, or Transformative Leadership Portfolio. This is based in a Google site. You'll be prompted to develop and start to load documents into that site right here in the orientation. And as we move through 801, you'll be parking materials in there and looking at those things. Some of you already have Google Sites in your other lives, and our only goal is to make sure that you name this one in such a way that you can find it if you have others. So that's a little heads up just about the technology. You get to choose, just like your personal Google site, to whom you give permissions. Will prompt you to invite your research team members or your study team members. We do try to follow the FERPA guidelines about what's sort of allowable within and outside the course. You may have a site-based colleague that you want to critique a piece of work you're doing that may be relevant to the workplace. And then who's ever instructing the course will be in there, and other folks with expertise. Here's a bit of who's in our cohort. And I think we heard from everybody tonight, except our military folks must be coming to the other session. There are a couple of those folks as well. And higher education is a good handful of community college folks, which we're very excited about. Here in Maine and elsewhere, the community college system is really the workhorse for entry-level, post-secondary workplace training and a lot of really important work. Joanne has an expertise in community college as well, and our new colleague, Kathy Davis. So we have it going on with post-secondary and community college. You're working in a discussion group for the orientation. You'll notice there's about 10, 11, 12 folks in your discussion groups. And that's about as large as you want to be in a workable group, day in and day out, reading posts and following and tracking. You can go into the 20s with a full class. Your section has 25 plus in it, the one you'll be placed in with the same discussion group you're in now. You'll be able to look back and forth. But in terms of day-to-day practice, we find that this is a workable size group. This one shows 8. As we move into further coursework, you'll continue to be placed with some role-alike folks, and then you'll have some chances to move to heterogeneous role groupings. So we try to do some of both. And we do post a pretty good comprehensive list of who's in the cohort generally, so you can find folks that aren't scheduled with you that may have common interests or goals that you want to share. This gives a sense of how the discussion groups relate to the study groups. And I'm coming back around to close this very brief presentation to remember again Etienne Wenger from the Wenger and Lave, The Business About Communities of Practice. Wenger talks about the domain, the community, and the practice. Wenger's stuff is all over the internet. You can Google it, it'll jump right off the page. And I do have some content material from his work later in the 801 course. I'd like to close about our community and get ready to close this session with bell hooks. All right. So that was a pretty quick ride through the basics of the curriculum. It will unfold as we move through the year. And I'm going to double check our list here. I'm going to make one more attempt to get John. Let's see, we got John in. Who was it over here that we didn't? It was Robert. Robert, your mic's showing bright green. I don't know why we can't hear you. Last call. Robert. And did we get Roger in? I don't think so. Roger, can you speak to us?
Hi.
There we are.
Yeah.
Well, we just got one we couldn't open, so it's a pretty good record. Roger, go ahead and quickly introduce yourself.
I'm a high school teacher at MCI in Pittsfield, Maine, teaching ESL. I went to Brooklyn College for my undergrad in film, and I did my master's in literacy at USM. And I'm originally from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago.
Mhm.
And
Wonderful. Great. Well, I'm glad that you made it to the session and we had a chance to introduce yourself, and we welcome you. And I need a consultation for another student about a film critique, so I may be back to you on a professional matter.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Okay, to close, here's a little bit of Calvin and Hobbes. It's funny looking at this about cable. You know, this is only, what, 10 or 12 years old cartoon. And then thinking about you folks managing your social media. I think that's really great. I have 2 high school teenager types living in my house, so I'm learning more about social media than I care to know. This is a bit of advice about technology. I will say that Joanna and I come from a generation before there was a lot of technology. I think we both typed our dissertations on a computer. I know I wrote my master's degree on an IBM typewriter that had a quarter feet on it. So it hasn't really, been our whole lives that we've been working with technology, but we have been teaching for a long time and have adapted. So Joanna, I'll let you have the last word as we close the session.
I remember starting my doctorate and learning how to work on an Apple IIe, which really probably dates me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make it double space, which just made me crazy. So that's where we began, and now we're here, which is a long way to come.
I actually typed my dissertation on an Apple IIe, and I was an early adopter. That's a scary thing. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your participation, for your careful listening, and your jumping into the technology. I'll see you back in the course. Do email or post something in the parking lot if you need some support as we move forward. And I will say that our Robert Carl has mic issues. He goes by Bob, and we will get him the next time around. All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye.